DevastatorTT, welcome to the chat show.
Thank you.
Very nice to have you here.
Nice to be here.
So let's start at the beginning. What does the TT stand for?
It's French for tout terrain, so all terrain.
Okay.
It's a reference of something that I did some years ago.
Excellent. That's great. And where in the world, if it's French, where in the world are you coming from?
Switzerland, Geneva. So
Geneva, Switzerland.
French-speaking part
French-speaking
of Switzerland.
part of Switzerland. Absolutely. Great. I've been there. Beautiful place. Perfect. How did you find the International Kriegsspiel Society?
Like a lot of people, Little Wars TV.
Yes, our good friends.
And like they did a video, I don't remember exactly which one, with which they talk about Kriegspiel, and then I just search for it, and well, the IKS is top of the list when you start looking for Kriegspiel. So
yeah, for sure. And then what brought you to Little Wars? Are you a miniature gamer, or are you just like, what kind of wargaming were you interested in?
Since I'm 12, I've been playing Warhammer Fantasy and Warhammer 40k, so miniatures and video games too, but mainly miniatures. And
Got it.
Yeah, I do have a lot of different YouTubers I'm following for that kind of content.
Sure. How big is your miniatures collection, if you're willing to say it?
I do not know.
I
I know I have a big pile of shame, that is for sure. But I would say great. I have like maybe, for those who will understand, 10,000 points of Empire for the Empire, for Warhammer Fantasy. Half of that for High Heels, and then Warhammer 40k, I have Imperial Guards and Space Marines.
Okay.
Also 5k.
And do you have a place that you play locally, or how do you engage when you do play miniatures gaming?
Friends and family.
Friends and family.
Because I don't have... Today I don't have that many hours to put it in, so it's more convenient. Right. And well, we just rolled with that with the friends, and that's it.
Fair enough. What was it about Kriegspiel that intrigued you?
Well, let's start with when I was younger, I always loved history and the war side of history, especially. But I did have, like when I was 12, start to redo the battles with paper, little bits of paper, left and right, just to imagine like having the whole army at Waterloo and stuff. And I love to recreate that on my own. And when I discovered the IKS, I was like, hey, I just found out like you can actually do that with rules, with people who are also interested in history, and not alone.
Got it.
And fell in love with it.
What was the first game that you played, or your first experience when you came in?
Less than 24 hours after I arrived, I was an umpire with Sean Lambert for the Hastenbeck last year.
Less than 24 hours in, you were umpiring.
Yeah.
That's exciting. And then is that, are you an old Dungeons and Dragons? What was it about umpiring that intrigued you?
Well, I haven't played Dungeons and Dragons, but I've played that kind of stuff with a good group of friends. Yeah. We've played, well, I think it's in French, so it's Chronique oubliée, so it's Forgotten Chronicle, I think, which is a easier way of playing Dungeons and Dragons. You don't need to have a book to know what you're doing and read all the rules all the time.
Yeah,
so
fair enough.
That we did a lot, and I did Game Master for a few games in the past, let's say 5 years, and I really enjoyed. So when I arrived in the IKS, I was like directly going for umpiring. Like,
right. I think that was a few of us have that a similar story where we game mastered in other places, and it just made sense to give umpiring a try. Yes. How do you find game mastering other RPG games versus Kriegspiel? What are the differences that you see?
I would say you rely more on knowledge, on your personal knowledge and the other umpires that are with you
Right.
than in other games. Like I come from Warhammer 40k and Warhammer Fantasy, where there is no discussion about. Yeah, but that is not really accurate. I feel we should do it more this way because
Right.
we've read this or we know that
Right.
doesn't happen historically. In Warhammer 40k, that's the rule, and
It's
there is no
it's
left or right. It's just that.
right. It's always upsetting when an assistant umpire has read more than you when you're running a game. Because
Well, not for me because I consider that if someone knows more, I can learn from him.
yeah, for sure. What periods of history intrigue you? I was just looking. You have a Napoleonic game up now.
Yes.
What periods do you like?
For Kriegspiel, it's definitively Napoleonic, even if
Okay.
I don't like do historical battles. Uh, then I would go. The second favorite would go medieval, but I haven't tried it as an umpire
Okay.
for the moment. But
So you started with Napoleonic.
yeah,
Now, have you played? Have you had a chance to play in any games?
yes, quite a few.
Okay.
The
What are
last
some of
one
your
I
what are some that
finished
stand
was
out? Yeah.
the last one I finished was Road to Leipzig by
Okay.
Felix.
Yeah.
That was a very interesting game. Um, I would say the one that stand out, but it's a finished game also. It was by Old One, 40k game that I very much enjoyed.
Okay.
But he hasn't given life sign of life for a few months now. So
So
that,
I'm curious because I'm not a 40K player. I didn't come from that. How do you all who are experienced with 40K adapt it for Kriegspiel? What are some unique rules that you adapt for Kriegspiel?
well, I would say the first rule of I've learned it in both games is that fair play, and if you don't know or not sure, just roll a die and just go on, just don't stop
Right.
at one particular problem, like express your way of thinking how to resolve the problem. The other player can do the same, and then just roll a die and go on with it. And that's my way of like a game needs to run, especially live. So you just need to, all right, what are the most likely outcome
Right.
from my perspective with my knowledge and other empires, and then if we really don't feel or we are really strong both about our personal opinion, just roll a die and move on because there is a lot of people waiting.
No, is that something in 40K that's part of the culture?
At least I would say not in the tournament because I've
Right.
never played in, but between friends and like even if in the local shop, we
Right.
always played like that because at some point we are not we don't play tournaments. There is not necessarily a game master that knows the rules especially better than anyone else. So
Right.
it's most, I would say we are all amateurs and let's keep it friendly and nice and just have a good time.
Right. 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 Okay. Cool. And I think that's a good attitude to have with Kriegspiel as well.
Yeah.
And the umpire can help make that run. Now, your first umpiring experience, 24 hours in, was it something you volunteered for, or did Sean Lambert pull you in? Did he? Because
He no
he's a
no he
clever
didn't
guy.
need that. Uh, because I was, I would say, directly looking. Even like when I arrived, one of the first few thing I did was already looking at the new Umpire chat and see
Right.
stuff, the rules set, the map making and stuff like that. So I just proposed to him if he needed help, and
That's
he
great.
said, "Yeah, you need TTS." I said, "All right," bought it, and just help him. I remember we spent, I think, like 1 hour, 2 hours just writing names because I was part of a big wave of people just arriving at
Right.
the same time. So I think he prepared for maybe 10 players, and suddenly there were 30 players, and
I
he had
remember
to
this game. Yeah.
he had to scale up all the stuff. So
Right.
yeah.
Yeah, there was an embarrassment of riches when it came to players that day. And how did you find that the first experience umpiring?
Very pleasant, because
Okay.
despite I would say the fact that I had no knowledge of the rule set, I didn't know how to do fighting, moving pieces, and in TTS was fully new to me. I think like it wasn't with the auto ski system where it's expected to be at the 15 minutes mark.
Right.
There was not that kind of pressure, so it was, I would say, or chill, or at least I never felt like stressed. And I
Okay.
even
That's
think
great.
I was one turn behind at some point, and Sean just went with it. And
Sean's a very experienced and capable umpire as well, so that was a
yeah,
great person to connect with for your first
yeah.
one. And then
And
so you had that first taste of umpiring. What was your next move after that? Did you start putting a game together?
no, no. I know that one of my weaknesses is I tend to reach too far, too high, way
Right.
too early. So I'm 29, so I've learned to stop doing that
Okay.
and to just look around. I mostly helped umpiring left and right in live games,
Okay.
and just slowly but surely grow confident in how to rule do a live game and stuff like that. And well, after that, I proposed to join the Marshal for his Grand Jena and Grand Auerstadt project,
Okay.
and that was very, very instructing. And I
And what
learned a
role
lot.
did you play there as an umpire on the Auerstadt program?
I would say one of the big empires. I don't know. I don't
Okay.
remember the title,
Sure.
but I participated in all the training games. I even ran one with
Oh, good.
Felix's help, and I was there for both games. So
And how did you approach learning Tabletop Simulator? Because you bought it pretty fresh when you were going to help
yes,
Sean out. What was your approach to learning the ins and outs of that?
mainly look at everybody else doing some stuff and just learning left and right.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a very bad at coding stuff, so I don't. I just take pieces from left and right from other people.
Right.
Like my play by post game are Damon's pieces.
Okay.
I've just found the way to change the image, have a good
Right.
image. That's Felix who taught me which size of image you need for different kind of stuff in TTS to have
Right.
a good quality image.
Okay, great. Well, if you were leading a game for that grand project, that's one of the test games or the practice game. That's
Yeah,
terrific. That's terrific. And do you prefer play by post or live? Which is more favorable to you?
I would say live,
Okay.
but for the moment, with my work and other stuff, I would say play by post, because it's less time consuming. Sorry,
Right.
at one point, but definitively I prefer live games, because you can
Okay.
do one game in one sitting and then
Right.
it's done.
And you get the full completion of the experience in one afternoon versus waiting for months. And
Yeah, like my previous game, I ran for 35 turns, and it took me 3 months to do
35
total.
turns. That's a great. That's a
Yeah,
very
I was
large
impressed.
number of turns. Good for you. Yeah.
Yeah,
Let's
I
talk
was.
about that. Which game was that?
It was a blue versus red scenario that I created,
Okay.
and
Napoleonic.
yes.
Okay.
And
So what made it 35 turns? What was the situation that it was 35 turns?
Well, my rules, I'm using the Marshall's Kriegsspiel's rules from Grandiana Rastatt because it's the one I've used the most, I'm most familiar with it. I've modified it quite heavily to better suit my way of doing stuff.
Sure.
And the thing is, it was that long because the rule is not perfectly made, and because I'm still in the try phase, I don't want to just use my umpire discretion on everything. Whatever I see wrong, I'm trying to improve the rule set.
Right.
But that I do at the end of a game, not during the game, because I don't want players to start a game and they think, okay, I can expect that kind of outcome, and then mid-game I saw that it's not historical or it's not adapted, and just change it and not tell them, or because suddenly they would expect something and then it doesn't happen, and I don't think it's fair when you're mid-game. So that's something I'm improving.
Now, you've run open Saturdays.
Yes.
That's an excellent thing because those are really hard because you don't know how many you can't control the number of players, and as your story about when you helped Sean and you expected 10 and 30 showed is that's really the tricky part about the open Saturday. What was it like running an open Saturday, and what did you do to prepare for it?
The first one I was helped by Felix, so it went very smoothly. He helped me in the prepare phase before the game, so it went quite smoothly because a lot of small questions left and right. Even if I use the guide, the Umpire guide, to prepare for a game, there is still little stuff left and right that I needed to do well, and Felix helped me greatly for that. So this one ran very smoothly. But the last one I did, there you can see the difference between Sean and I. Is Sean was able to absorb the number of more players that showed up, and I was not able. So I had prepared 16 commands, and there was 20 people, and I just went for, you got to go and play as a 2IC because I'm not able to just improve or make my OOBs larger and still stay on course of what I wanted to do as a scenario.
How do you, when you do the live work, how do you think about number of umpires versus players, and just what's your approach to that?
When I do live, I'm using the James D8 rule set. So I would say depending on if you are a newer umpire or more experienced one, I think with a newer, 3 is a big maximum. But if you get more experience, you can have 4 to 5 players, especially if you have one of the players is a CIC, because the fighting is quite quickly. There isn't 5 stuff to change on the pieces like in the Otovsky system. It's just roll a die, see the result, affect the 1 token on the unit, and go on. So it's a quick system that I do use and enjoy for the live games. So I think 3 for newer, and 4 to 5 for more experience, and that allows to have a lot of player with not that many umpires.
So you mentioned that you adapted the rules that were used, Marshall's rules. What were some of the things that you did that worked for you? Because we all have our own approaches, but what were things that you did to modify the rules?
The fatigue system that was not existent.
Okay.
Because the rule set were made for one battle. And where both sides are already more or less close to each other and ready to fight it out. With historical OOBs, so certain units were, as in history, already weaker than others. And because I'm doing ahistorical scenarios where units are full strength and fully ready at the beginning of the battle, I've changed so that if you double march or you push through dense terrain, you lose cohesion and you gain fatigue to not have units that can, if I use the original rule set, you can go through a wood at double speed and came out as fresh as you entered, and that's something I'm not okay with.
Right. So you added a fatigue system in to accommodate some of
No,
these principles.
just a way to lose cohesion faster.
Okay.
And more efficiently, I would say.
And how did you track that?
On the pieces directly. Each unit has its own markers.
So you put tokens on the pieces for fatigue?
No, it's directly done in the pieces of daemons. You just flip them and
okay, got it.
The numbers.
The number. Yeah, I got it. The set with the numbers that are scripted in. Got it. Okay, great.
Yeah, and that's.
And how did you balance cohesion, fatigue, and then physical damage?
Well, that's the second part. There is the cohesion, and then there is the HP of the unit. That's the two numbers I'm using mainly. And that's, if you lose HP, that means you can't be as effective, even if you are at your maximum. So the both are linked, as even if you are fully fresh unit of 100 men, if 1,000 men come upon you, you're not gonna do well.
Right. And how did you think about units breaking, routing off the field? What's your philosophy on that?
I would say I'm very bad at it. Okay. I still have to learn quite a lot.
Sure.
I would say I tend to make the unit a bit too resistant to enduring to what they should be.
Right.
But I'm learning more and more, surely, with each game, like how fragile a unit is when it's alone and just on an open field. It's not like 15 minutes and it's out, depending on what they have coming.
It's a hard one because if you read history, as we all read history, it's not linear. So a lot of times our war games say, okay, you have an 8 morale and a 7 morale, 6 morale. And life doesn't work that way. Units that would be considered, elite units broke and ran, and, some units held in that would be considered, less, with lower morale, but they hung in there and fought like lions. So it's just when you read the history, you kind of scratch your head on how to model it. So I don't think anyone's really got a.
Yeah, but that's, I would say that's the hard part. It's, I would say I would say I had the same shock with the morale that with the artillery. As a Swiss, I did my military duty in the artillery, and with the modern artillery, we are quite precise. Everything goes fast, and the more I learned, I was like, they're actually really bad at that. And then I learned a bit more, and I don't remember where I read it, but there was something like a comparison between two batteries firing in the same battle for roughly the same amount of time, and one did something like 10 casualties while the other did 1,000 casualty in the same 30 minutes time or 45 minutes, something like that. I was like, how did that happen? Like,
that's that example of it's not it's so non-linear in terms of what you read in history, right? So trying to model that's difficult. And how do you deal with that just in general? Do you rely almost completely on the die, or do you put a little of your own thought in? How do you do that?
I start with the die within the rule set to have like, okay, that's the situation I have, and then I go with my guts and my experience that I'm learning every day a bit more, because like I said previously, I want player to be able to expect certain results if they've done it multiple times. and it function or not. But I also don't want to be like just a Warhammer guy who just the rules is that and there is nothing else than just that. So if I'm rolling a die and let's say a unit, I don't know, holds, I'm like, no, they're not supposed to hold. I will just make them run away because.
Right. Right. And in terms of your history reading, are you or do you read history? How do you do your research, or what's the source of your interest?
My love for history started many years ago,
Okay.
almost 20 years ago. So I have read quite a lot, but I would say only the past few years I've interested in more serious work and not
Right.
just Wikipedia and the first link you have on Wikipedia.
Right. Right.
Because
Okay.
Wikipedia is good, but the links at the bottom are better. And if you go to the second link in the first link, you start to dig quite deep and have some quite interesting stuff.
Agreed. That's a great technique, is to go into the bibliography of a rule set. I got a Franco-Prussian rule set, and the rule set was okay, and I learned some things from it. But then I looked at the bibliography, and I was like, oh boy, I think I bought like 8 books out of the thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was terrific. What? How do you make your maps? What's your approach on maps?
I'm doing my own.
Okay.
The reason for that is I do like to draw too, and I find it fun. And
Okay.
using Photoshop, you can do quite nice maps, even with very little knowledge.
Yes.
And because I'm doing ahistorical battles, I don't need to have a super precise Waterloo. If you take one of the farm out, everybody will be like, "Why? Why did you take that one out?"
Right. That's
When
my favorite farm.
yes, but when you are
Right.
doing like my second map I made by myself was from my last game actually. I have a friend who lives in one of those villages in Brittany, and that's it. That's why I chose to do that map, because we were joking about how different our two places were, and I was like, yeah, I'm looking for an idea of map where there is hills and fields. It was like, hey, around me there is fields and hills, and
Yeah.
I've got
Right.
the sea, so enjoy. And I just chose that.
That's great.
So no one knows the fields, and no one can like expect stuff because it's new maps. No one
Right.
has used these maps or knowledge like I would say I'm gonna say Waterloo again, but everybody knows how Waterloo functions
Right.
and what's the hard point you need if you're the coalition, and which point to avoid if you're the French.
Right. And you've walked the ground where these maps are. If your friend has a house in Brittany, right? So I mean, when you see a
Yes,
slope, you understand physically what it looks like because you see the ground,
yes,
which is
yes,
terrific. So you said you use Damon's pieces. What's
yes.
your? I guess how do you pull together your materials? Or do you put it in a document? Do you put it in a spreadsheet? What's your general preparation routine?
I write it down on paper.
Oh, you do. How cool.
Yeah, despite doing most of my research online, and being quite a lot of the time on my computer, when I'm doing something creatively, I rather do it on real paper and actually write, even though I have to write 10 times the same thing because just one modification changes the whole thing. And if you
Yeah.
want to have a clean sheet, you have to do another one. But yeah, I write it, and then what, like for the battles, I generally like write a few ideas on different I would say ideas of fight, like a fighting retreat, or an army separated in two, or there is one army that is weaker, or different idea, like
Right.
to see what's the reaction of the players and how they deal with that.
And so you mentioned 16 command slots for the one live game. Is that consistent with your play-by-post, or your play-by-post have with 35 turns? It was a long match for
Yeah.
sure. But do you have more command slots in the play-by-post, or is it similar?
No, my first play-by-post was 2. Then I did a 9-player, and currently I'm doing 15.
Okay. Yeah.
And I will see how it goes. And maybe I will go up. Maybe I will find my my maximum.
That's a good number. That's a nice that's a nice number. What how do you think about the orders of battle? Do you like? I did look in the recruitment channel of your games. Is you have a Napoleonic division level game up now? Do you like division level? What's your preferred scale?
I would say definitively the division for the lowest rank for players, because you can quite quickly have big armies with a relatively small number of players. But that's something I will have to look into more in the future, because I would like to have bigger battles, but not
Yeah.
necessarily more players, but how to give the precision of the battalion scale at the lowest pieces is the battalion, how to give still to the players that precision to
That's the hard part, right?
on the
So right now you're doing the lowest level division, then you have a corps commander above them.
yes,
Got it.
even if the core is far bigger than what it should be. But
Right. You mentioned Wikipedia. Do you have other sources for your research?
not the strong one. I just look at the notes, the links at the bottom of Wikipedia, and
Okay.
then
Yeah.
just go left and right. And
Yeah. There's usually good order of battle. And
I don't
then
have.
you do ahistorical battles.
Yes.
What elements do you try to put in there to make them interesting, or what do you consider all the elements of a good ahistorical battle?
To create another history first.
Okay.
And I would say then, just to put players into a scenario. You've done the Montcase problem.
Uh-huh.
I would say that also are ahistorical scenarios,
They
but they
are.
are very interesting to do because it's thought exercise. Like you're not recreating a battle, like once again Waterloo, where you deploy like Napoleon, you do the fighting, and maybe one player at some point will take an initiative, or a fight will go in your favor, and it changed from there. But when you're with a historical battle, you have to create everything as a player.
Mm-hmm.
You have to rely on your experience as a player to do something new. You can't be like, okay, that's a strong point. You have to yourself look at the map and think, all right, I think that's a strong point, that's a weak point,
Right.
and that's what I do like about ahistorical battles is, and especially because I'm creating my own maps, is I can just make a forest a bit bigger or a bit smaller, or take that bridge 500 meters to the left or to the right to just put the player in the situation where they have to think about, is it important or not, what would be the consequences of thinking, like, if they say it's not important, what would be the consequences, and if they think it's important, what other consequences would happen. And that I
Mm-hmm.
do think it's very interesting in the ahistorical games, because you don't have history to rely on.
Right. How do you? I think one of the challenges I find with ahistorical, because I do them as well, is creating the story so the players get the context ahead of time. How do you approach that?
Well, for the first battle, I told my two players, for the play by post, I told my two players, I gave them a scenario where the French invaded the Dutch, and just like that, just said, "That's it. I'm asking you to play so I can test the rule set and myself as a play-by-post umpire." Because that was the first time, so they knew very well that it wasn't for the historical or the special scenarios. They were just playing for me to exercise. Second scenario, I started to create a story that was made after one of the live games, which was my first live game as an open Saturday. I made the red team having to protect wagons of gold, and they had to protect while the blue were just rushing at them, and they had to evacuate the gold at the other side of the map.
Right.
And then the scenario was 1 year later, the red army is back, because for 1 year they had the gold to train in another country and go on and retake your land. And well, they started that battle, they won that battle, so now we are at the third battle, which is the capital of Redania, and that's how I created this little universe.
Neat.
And
so I
most
saw the
players have
Redania, Bludania kind of layout that you had.
Yeah.
Is there is that kind of an ongoing series you're going to do, or what's your, or is it just you getting off the ground or getting started?
That's the third battle. I will end it there because I've started to create a bit like my own universe with other countries, and I want to see how I can maybe have players be the king or the president, or I don't know, whatever, or the title of people who are in charge of a country and they make the decision. But I don't want to have a full diplomatic game,
right?
Because I'm not interested in umpiring this kind of game. Very much more interested in the battle, but just have them, or just an extended universe where I can just create history and then do the battles, and that affect the next battle and stuff like that. So I'm definitively going to expand on that. But
yeah, there's a couple of approaches, right? You get an operational game that is the core of the game is the operational component, or an operational game that generates battles.
Yes.
Both are fun and interesting, but they're slightly different goals. So it sounds like you're more interested in the battles being well done.
Yes, definitively.
Right.
Because that's to me, as a Kriegspiel player, what I want. I want to do a battle.
Right.
I do find very enjoyable to play the politics, or to go, if you're in D&D, to go to a tavern and just speak with everybody there, get drunk, play poker and stuff. But to me, when I want to play Kriegspiel, I want to mainly play for the battles.
Yeah.
So
that's
I'm doing battles.
Right. I got it. And the rest, I think that's clear. You're very clear on that, which is great. What do you think your next area of interest will be after you finish this series? I recognize you're in the middle of it now, so you're probably not thinking about what's next, but what interests you as a potential future game?
I think I want to try to do a medieval game.
Okay.
But I'm not sure. Maybe I will just continue and just expand a bit the universe, and instead of having blue versus red, let's have gold versus I don't know, green, and just see another scenario, another way of creating armies. Because for the moment, the armies are more or less similar, and I also want to more improve on the way I do the OBs to have more, let's say the yellow faction is inspired by the Austrian Empire, so how I can adapt my standard OB to meet more the kind of the Austrian army, and let's say for the blue the French, for the red the English, and stuff like that. But I will need to have more research on that.
What medieval rule sets do you have any medieval rule sets that inspire you?
None. I haven't looked at it. It's just purely on interest in history and
Yeah,
I would
right.
say a
Which is great.
change of like
You-
I would say just the change of era and like how fighting is done. Just
right,
just
right.
this.
I'm not sure. I guess Puxus did some pike and shot, and then we've had some ancients. I think it'd be interesting for someone to get into that space and flush it out a little bit. I know Wolfton did quite a few ancients battles. Chief, I don't want to misspeak on who's done them, but I know we had a run. The games on the IKS kind of run in fashionable periods, right? So we had an
Yeah.
ancients period where lots of them were going on, and then ACW for a while. So it'd be interesting to get a medieval game streak going, so we all learn a little bit more about the periods.
Yeah, good. Maybe we shall see.
You can take the lead. You can be our you can be our medieval game whisperer and get us going on it.
Yeah, maybe we'll see.
Right.
For the moment, I'm very much focused on my game.
Of course you are. Yeah, and I didn't want to distract you
But
from that.
yeah.
What do you do if a player isn't participating? If they're just kind of either not showing up, not giving orders, just what's your philosophy on that?
At first I was like, all right, let's have the standard first one. You get nothing, just a little message of, hey, wake up, you have
Right.
to do something. And then second time, I forgot the English word, but un avertissement. I just tell you that if you forget an order next time, I'll kick you.
Yeah, kind of a warning would be one way to think
Yeah,
about it.
a
Yeah.
warning. Exactly, that's the
Yeah.
word. And then I had that case where both two player, one on each side, had that. I was like, how can I make them more interested in doing something or feeling that they are starting to lose grip on the
Right.
battle and what's happening? So I just came up with this idea of they forgot to take breakfast and they just have breakfast there, and it was quite fun because the commander
I
just saw
love that.
that, like he had like this really tiny screenshot because I told him he was so much focused on
Focused on the
the
breakfast.
food
That's always good. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and that, and then he said something like, once I finish my breakfast I'll start looking again, and then he was back at it. But I think and I discussed that with other umpires,
Right.
I would say, and that's something I've read also, is that sometimes officers would leave for official meetings or stuff and just straight up leave in the middle of the fight because
Right.
they just receive a message from, let's say, their wife that they are their daughter is dying, and then just
Yeah.
they're like, see ya, I got something more important, and suddenly you lose. So I would say if a player start losing interest in the game, I will, and stop showing up at the deadline, I will take him a bit on the side and feel him like he's losing grip. And I haven't been past the third consecutive time where a player didn't give orders, so I don't know. But for the moment, I think I will just give the 2IC the place at some point,
Right.
because I don't feel it's right, because we are not we are all players and we are doing it for fun. And if your side is losing because just one player lost interest, it's not
Yeah,
fun
that's right.
for the
I think
other.
it's a topic that everyone has a slightly different take on, and I appreciate your take, where you're not as. I like your approach with the breakfast. Right, it's a nice way of saying, okay, it's a warning, but not a mean spirited one, right?
Yeah. And also I would say it's a kind of just, hey, wake up, come back, and if
Yeah.
you're not interested, just say so. There are 2ICs. If I don't have any 2ICs, I can ask the IKS community is big enough. I can then definitively tell for my announcement I did last week. Sorry.
That's all right.
I think in less than 5 seconds, I had the 3 comment slots filled.
Right.
So I put the message, instantly got the notification. I was like, oh, I have to modify my post to say it's filled. Otherwise, people will just flood in and expect to have a spot where they were already taken.
When you mentioned the officer going to see his wife, what popped into my mind was that military organizations are designed to carry on if someone's missing. That's literally designed into their functions. So because if someone is injured or killed, then the military organization has the next person step into the role and off they go. And throughout history, we see many examples of the next level of command stepping up. So if a player doesn't show, the units should still function. It's not the case that a regiment would just stop and stand in a field, right? There would be a subordinate commander to do something. Now, how to do that in a way that makes sense is the umpire's discretion. But it made me think that when an officer had his wife or daughter was ill, then he'd leave, and his subordinate would step up and take command, and they'd still fight the battle.
Yes, I would say the only thing I do give an impact is if a player is active and forgetting about a unit.
Yeah, how do you handle that?
I have in my way of in the play by post is I write a small description of what happened, and then I put a dispatch from the brigadiers directly. So I'm the one creating them, and just to tell, like, my unit is exhausted, or I'm ready, I'm waiting for your orders.
Right.
So the player receives that, and he's like, hey, that guy is telling me he's ready. Where did I put him? And
Right.
he
That's a
has
great.
to.
Yeah, I think that's right, because again, a subordinate would reach out to his superior and say, "Hey, we're over here in the field, and I'm ready to go. Put me in." Right?
Yes.
So a regiment would just sit there and say, "I lie." I mean, some regiments in history would, right? The French in the Franco-Prussian War, perhaps, but generally the commander would reach out and say, "Okay, I'm over here. I need orders," right? So, yeah. Because then you got to be careful about coaching, right?
Yes, but I
Then
would
you're
say
coaching players.
I'm not giving them solution. I'm ready to answer, I would say, concrete, something that I think they should know as a division commander, like how many guns they have, how fast they can go, because
their historical counterpart would have known that, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
But if they ask me, like, how fast, if my batteries are under fire, how fast are they going to deploy? I'm like, good luck.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna tell you, because
or
it
where
depends.
should I deploy them?
Yes.
Where should I put my artillery? Well, hold on. There's a point at which, that's coaching. Yeah. So but I think you make a good. The spirit of your answer I like. It has me thinking about it more, because we tend to be rather mean spirited with our players sometimes about, they missed an order cycle, and they've disrespected the game. Well, no, they might be busy. Their job might have had a project come up, or I had one of my players on a plane, and he said to me, "I'm going to be on a plane, and tomorrow I can't make the deadline," which was great. He told me, right? So life gets in the way, right?
Yeah, I would say because I have my Discord is small. I don't have that many players. I know who's a new player and who's not. So in the previous game, one of the new players ordered his artillery battery to fire over troops. I was like, nope, that doesn't exist in the Napoleonic era, like, right. Only exception. And I think the way I told him was, his brigadier wrote to him, "Sir, there is friendly troops. We won't be able to fire."
Right.
And then he asked, and then I explained, historically, you don't fire over troops in this era.
Right.
But I gave him an answer from the brigadier level, so it's more like, sir, I've received your orders, but no, I can't do them. In the sense that maybe like if the commander orders something because he's not here on the field to exactly see, and just his subordinate just tell him, nope, not able to do so.
Right.
And that.
So you mentioned you have a small number of players in your Discord. How do you think about recruiting players to your games or your universe?
Well, I've stated that at the beginning. It's first come, first serve.
Mm-hmm.
But if you have been either a spectator or 2IC for the game, for the next game, you have first pick. You have a period of time where you can choose first the spots, and that, to me, it's a way to have not always the same players, and those who are very much interested in what I propose as game, they can say, all right, this game I'm the 2IC, and next game I will be there and have my own command.
Right.
And then it rolls. And that's it.
And do you track player experience, or how do you track that?
I have an Excel sheet.
Excel sheet of players, yeah.
And that's it.
Yeah.
And
that works, right?
Yeah, for me it works for the moment. I don't have 1,000 names, so it's all right. I don't have
you'll
to.
get there though. Well, what if your popularity explodes and you have more people interested than you can get in your games? What do you do then?
I would say continue as is, because if they are interested in what I do, I'm not going to change the quality and just say sorry. Wait a bit. Or the other way is to find someone or multiple people who have I would say as weird schedules as I have, and that would be able to have, because I do keep the 48 to 72 hours deadline, so we can move forward and not have like one turn every week. But maybe I if by luck I find at the moment where I have too many players or too many people interested, and if I find another empire that is ready to follow me in my time schedule, I will gladly use the help to have bigger games.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
I think it's a question we all have to wrestle with, because as the Kriegsspiel as a format continues to gain momentum, we're just naturally going to have more people wanting to play. And so we've got 170 umpires as of the date of our recording. And that implies a couple thousand seats in games, but that's the kind of momentum that brings more and more people. So you find yourself with 200 people interested in your game someday. So you have to mentally be prepared for how to handle it.
Yeah, well, I do hope that it's a number that will slowly increase as my experience increase and my capacity to run things with more, because when I did my first game, I thought that 2 players were quite a lot, and then I went for 9 because I thought it was not that much, but still a good number. So it wasn't easy, and I find it very enjoyable. So I was like, go to 15 and see what's happening. But I haven't
anyone
done
who
it,
is
so I
within
can't say
24 hours helping Sean Lambert in a game has a bright future as an umpire. So I'm sure that you're going to continue to improve, because most of us take a lot longer. That's great.
Well, I would say it depends on your personal interest, because personally, I'd rather umpire than play.
Yeah.
But that's me. Not everyone is like me. So.
Yeah. And what is it that, in terms of its purest form, we've talked about all the interest in history and things like that, but in its purest form, what is it about umpiring versus playing that differentiates it for you?
I would say I have a lot of fun of giving especially in live games, giving the verbal report.
Okay.
Like either doing a voice or just making, like, let's say a player charge with his troop and just make it epic. I find very, very enjoyable to.
That's great.
Or when they screw up, arrive and explain how that, and in character as a bit of role play, that I do find very enjoyable. So that's why I prefer, I would say, umpiring over playing.
It's great, and it's such a big payoff as an umpire in creating that little snippet of a story for people and making it real and interesting. And so, yeah, that's actually a big part of it. That's great. Is there anything you want to say to the umpire community that we haven't covered so far?
How do you make more time in a day to play more, to do more stuff?
How do you make more time in a day? Well, if we solved that, we'd be the International Time Creation Society, and we'd be all we'd all be in good shape. But I think it comes down to really focus. There's so much that Kriegspiel can do. There are so many potential applications, and I won't even list any of them. I would be here all day. But there's so many ways you can go. I think the way to create more time for your style of it is to make sure you focus in on that type of Kriegspiel that you love, so you can fit it into a busy work schedule and all the rest. Or you can become like Umpire LaFondiose and not work and just do Kriegspiel, in which case more hours are in a day, my friend.
Yeah, I'm too young for that.
I think you are. When I was 29, I was not playing Kriegspiel, so don't sweat it. You're doing great.
Yeah.
Devastator TT, what a tremendous chat. I've really enjoyed getting to know you, and I know that the umpire community is going to enjoy listening to this. Thanks so much for coming on.
Thank you.